technologies are there. I have seen lot of technology.
Indian innovators are developing some tremendous technology.
So once you have the system, then people will follow that.
So I am like to introduce my first co-panelist, Mr. Rajiv, entrepreneur. He was telling me about some technologies that he has developed and he's trying to commercialize where the gaps are. Next to Mr. Gupta is Ms. Amrit Raj. She's the National Project Coordinator, GF UNIDO Cleantech program. And I guess this will be more on a multilateral kind of perspective that we'll be able to provide to us. Yeah, thank you. Next to Ms. Amrit Raj is Mr. Rajiv Agrawal. He's Director of Ariva Technologies on municipal solid waste, converting that into products and useful things. This sort of resonates well with the theme that our Honorable Minister, Mr. Gadkari, laid out, saying, "Jahan bhi kachra ho, try to make some wealth out of that." And I think that's a very, very, very noble endeavor that Mr. Agrawal is on. So we'll hear from him the perspective of somebody who's already commercialized some of this technology. Director, Global Commercialization Group, ICIS Square Institute, University of Texas at Austin.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Let me begin by first explaining as to what is the program which UNIDO was doing in the clean space and where did the thought process come from. So I am handling a project called the Global Cleantech Innovation Program. UNIDO is of a very strong view that they want to do only programs where they can involve the respective governments in those programs. So this program was launched by UNIDO in 6 countries across the world, where the governments sort of chipped in to be part of the program. So this is JEF funded and co-financed by the Ministry of Medium, Small and Micro Enterprises of Government of India. The program is a small program from the UNIDO perspective, from JEF perspective, but it had a very it had an innovation focus, and it had a very interesting twist to the way we wanted to handle the innovation ecosystem. I don't know how many of you attended the last session, where the last speaker of the session, the parent SME unit, but in the long run they realized that this is something which can also go commercially successful. So those people had to be handled. And why did MSME sort of, the program is not the uniformly designed in all countries, in the sense that in India the government insisted that we work only with SME innovators. We don't work with university, because they are in the system, they're producing, they're using it, and the only trick which they didn't know is because they're in their own business, they don't know how to commercialize a new venture altogether, because they're handling, they're doing a sort of a second run of the same company in which their father is or grandfather is working. So this was the second takeaway from us, is that from the program was that SME innovators are technology validation, almost 80% were what ticked in the first row. The only thing is the commercialization, the commercial quotient which is being focused, was what the program was majorly trying to focus on. And incidentally, the Cleantech Open US also focuses very largely on the commercial content rather than on the technology aspect, because like they say that most innovations are basically technologists, they are technology people. They are so driven by, that when you talk to an innovator, he'll, out of the half an hour you give him, for 25 minutes he'll only talk about the technology. And so what we were trying to train them was that out of the 25 minutes which you are given, you have to talk 20 minutes about commercialization and 5 minutes about technology, because nobody is questioning your technology, and that is how you will take it successfully to the field, to the market. So that was a very important takeaway. The third important takeaway which I thought was that most of the innovations were actually innovations because they were touching a pain point. The larger focus of clean environment and touching the climate agenda macro picture, that is not on the mind of the innovator. Now, if you want to optimize what he has innovated and which you think has a commercial potential, the onus of that transition and commercialization should be on the policymaker and the government, because he is actually innovated and he wants to make it a commercial success. By default, it is a plus, for the social environment, because it has larger implications for society at large. But that is not what he is focusing on. So therefore, if you want that transition from of a clean process or a clean innovation to become commercially viable, the onus has to be on the government to give them adequate support in terms of policy, in terms of financing, in terms of incentivizing in other ways, so that they sort of end up. And for that, the program, I think, gives a platform a little to that we get an interface with the policymakers to give them suggestions as to what are the takeaways from the program. So that way also this was another learning. And the last point which I'd like to emphasize is that any program in India is small compared to the size of this country. So you cannot have any program which has this large footprints. Lockheed Martin program of FICCI has been there for the last 9 years. But if you see the number, they look minuscule compared to the numbers in India. You have SMEs which are like almost 60 million SMEs. Now any number cannot match up to that. So no program will have the macro coverage which the policy makers would like to see. The big numbers. It's not going to come. So the way you have to sort of get traction in the system, if you're working in that space, is to develop the state infrastructure or the state ecosystems along with whatever national perspective you have on the subject. And which is a huge challenge in a country like India, where you have large number of states. The political alliances are different, so all those challenges are there. But the big picture is going to be only with the hand holding and at the state level. So that was also a takeaway, because we were trying to organize SMEs from 20 states, 18 cities, to get mentors for them, to get footprints for them, to get them start interacting with their in the ecosystem. It was a huge challenge. So you have to sort of focus state-wise. Whichever agency sort of is working in the space has to focus state-wise, and then probably in 10 years, 15 years, take it to the national level. But it just doesn't work at the national level straight away.
Lot of things to happen, as Mr. Gupta has already said, that he is an entrepreneur and he has developed lot good technologies, but he is looking for some good commercial partner for those things. This is the basic problem for our technologies, where we see the problem and our technical people who are developing the technology not finding the good partner for the commercialization of their technology. Though there are a lot of new scopes, good scopes are there for technology development, but with whom they should develop the technology, with whom they should get the finance for the technology, and how they should commercialize the technology. So my suggestion for this forum is that we should have some forum for technology development as well as the commercialization of technology, so that they can interact with each other and find a good commercial partner for the technology development. There is a brain in India, and in India many people are there developing the technology. Good technologies are there. I have seen lot of technologies, and very good biodegradable technologies are there, where we can even do the waste management, we can do this all other effluent treatment. And cost of those technologies are very less because those have been developed in-house by the scientists, by our innovators. But commercialization is the biggest problem for them. I have, being an entrepreneur, I am basically from the accountant side, I am a chartered accountant, but I have a passion for getting the new technologies and commercialize those technologies. I have done few technologies commercialization and still doing lot more technologies to be commercialized. But I am facing the same problem. Where I go for the new technology, I face lot of problem with the government side for for how they have been developed, who has developed, what they have done so far. And because in India, where we go, they need that it should be with the big plants and machines should be installed, then only this technology should work. So these kind of problems are there, but how we have to come out with the government initiatives and with the forums like FICCI and all. So we can do a lot of things on this technology commercialization. Basically, this is the subject which I have been given for the commercialization of technology. And I look forward for government and all other forums to come forward for the commercialization of this technology. I think it is enough from my side.
This is an exciting topic for us. We've been spending a lot of time recently looking to see what the challenges are for distributed energy needs are in India. And when you look in terms of national priorities in India, nothing can be any higher, perhaps, other than health than power. India, it is widely believed that India will not achieve its goals of being a world power and will not achieve its goals of being made in India unless the conditions of affordable and usable power are dealt with and the significant improvement. So we looked at when you've got a situation here now where over 400 million people in the country are completely off the grid. And so distributed power through sources like clean energy, renewable energy, wind, solar things are very important to bridging that gap. And because the infrastructure cost to put the grid out to cover the whole blanket of the country would just be astronomical and take a long time to do it. So when you take a look at solution being clean energy, renewable energy, and energy efficiency, where we believe that that's the best role of small and medium companies can take a role in it. Because if you're talking about nuclear power, you're talking about huge capital investments, a lot of government involvement. Certainly in the oil and gas business, it's the same. In coal, it is big dollars, big problems, big governmental issues to deal with. But in the area of energy efficiency and clean energy, renewables, and things of water technology, that's the place where small and medium enterprises can play the biggest role. Indian innovators are developing some tremendous technology and have some great solutions, but there is a need to reaching out and find innovative solutions around the world that can be brought into India and placed into Indian ventures to really solve problems. And so we work worldwide, and with our programs, we're in 18 different countries, and there are a number of technologies that we're working with in places like Korea, certainly in Latin America, in Western Europe, places like that, where there's some really fine technologies that are real candidates to form partnerships in the U.S. In India. And so we think this is a place where really focused incubation programs in clean renewable energy and energy efficiency can really play a substantial role at really providing solutions to it. In these distributed models like this, energy efficiency technologies is particularly important because your sources of energy may be a solar panel or maybe a wind turbine, but the loss of power from the source of energy to the actual user is substantial. Somewhere between 25 and 35% of the power is lost just in that transmission. Well, there's innovation all along the way there that can improve that. And if you're talking about a 2 or 3 or 5% improvement in that, that's equivalent to trying to invest in that much more power input. So the numbers are astounding in terms of what the impact of efficiency and technologies are, both in industry, certainly in the end users in rural communities and households. So there are a lot of tremendous solutions. The challenge in India, of course, is the business model. You know, what kind of a business model that you can put behind this, because the people are largely, in the rural communities in particularly, are the ones who benefit the most, or the least able to pay for it. What kind of a business model will attract investment? You know, what do you have to do to diversify your solutions out so you reach a more of a high-paying customer component, so you can offer a different business model to rural communities. The other important initiative that goes alongside of this is how do you incorporate this for benefit for the rural communities? It's a local problem. The smaller communities have their own individual circumstances, but in each of these, there is a requirement for some kind of local component that needs to be involved in either the execution, installation, or monitoring, or whatever these technologies are. So building an entrepreneurial community in the rural communities around energy is a really important factor. And as we've gone through the IIG program over the years, we've seen some really remarkable technologies that are being developed strictly on based on needs, that are coming out of small communities. Innovators, scientists, faculty members that are really doing some tremendous work that is really geared to solving problems in the rural communities. And we need to capture that. We need to add to that by matching it with other kinds of technology so you can have a viable solution. And so that's a real opportunity that comes when you talk about incubating energy technologies. So I think that you wanted me to discuss a little bit about in incubation, what is the challenges of getting technologies to the marketplace when you have innovators that don't want to go to the marketplace, or contributes to high failure rates because of just the commercial challenges ahead of them. And I think that's, as Len Denton said in the last session, that's one of the big challenges that incubators, strong incubators, can have, and they have to be able to solve that to get the right kind of commercial expertise in place. We're talking with a number of states about putting in, having them look at erecting energy-focused incubators in their communities, and I think that the realization nationally and certainly regionally and state by state is very high, and a lot of good innovators who are ready to really come up with some solutions to this. Because if you're successful at even changing the dynamics by 10 or 15%, it's a tremendous leveraged number, and so there's a lot of room for success, a lot of wealth creation too in this field. Thank you. Well, I think one of the big challenges is user habits, which is really important. That's why you have the rise of smart city projects around India. I think there's five smart city projects that have been allocated here in India. A very important part. We have one of the premier smart city projects in Austin called Pecan Street, and they have the world's biggest database or user habits in terms of water, electricity. So the challenge is really to be able to target solutions based on what is difficult data to get to, and I think that's going to be one of the successes of these smart city projects in India, is being able to look at habits in a way where you can really develop technology that's going to give an optimum solutions to it. So the market is segmented even farther down than you normally have, because user habits are so different from household to household. What's the kind of a range of solutions that you can develop is going to have the the most impact over time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Now, what happens is that whenever we put a particular system, in India the system will work if there is some bit of financial incentive attached to it. For example, you might have seen that everybody has newspaper in the house, and newspaper रद्दी वाला वो paper लेकर जाता है, तो you will segregate the newspaper because you know that you can sell it for 10 rupee kg. Now newspapers are nicely, Times of India will be nicely segregated and sold. So similarly, if that's where we are coming, that we are putting up a system where we would like to even pay for that garbage, because I would like to say I am converting energy from garbage. We are planning that. So it is our raw material. Now instead of for every industry you have to purchase the raw material. So that is the reason that if there are incentives and the investment coming on to the garbage waste to energy conversion, then there will be incentive to pay. And once you have, it is just a matter of setting up this system. So once you have this system, then people will follow that.
Thank you very much. I think we are coming to a closure on this session. I want to thank my fellow panelists for presenting their viewpoint. Excellent thoughts that came. Also want to thank the audience for very actively and energetically participating in clean tech discussions. That shows the passion that everybody has on this subject. Thank you very much.
And we all are meeting for the next session, that is Women Leadership in the Innovation Ecosystem. For this session, we are meeting upstairs, second floor, hall number 6. So this is going to be the last session of this day today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good technologies are there. I have seen a lot of technologies.
Indian innovators are developing some tremendous technology.
So once you have the system, then people will follow that.